Hello and good morning friends, welcome to CEC Reset Live Lecture. Dear friends, we could say that this is one of the most auspicious days for us because we wish you a very happy new year, and with this new year we pledge that we would bring for you different lectures on different topics, and with the help of these topics I believe that you would be able to fight with your things, or you would be able to learn more and more. So welcome once again to you, as well as welcome this new year. Dear friends, in this lecture today we are going to discuss about basically the dyed and printed textiles in India. I would like to tell you all that we are going to conduct series of lectures under this topic, that is dyed and printed textiles in India, and today we are specifically going to emphasize on kalamkari, and for this we have with us in our studios Dr. Nilima Asthana. She is Assistant Professor in Department of Education, Lady Irwin College, Delhi University. So first of all I would like to welcome our guest Dr. Asthana, but before that I would like to welcome her with the welcoming of a new year. Ma'am, wish you a very happy new year. As all the students, all the viewers who might be watching us right now, I hope that, I believe that with the help of this topic they would be going to make their new year very happy. So over to you, ma'am.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Gitika, and I wish all of you a very happy new year 2015, and I will start with my lecture on traditional textiles of India. Actually, traditional textiles of India is a very interesting topic, and you are going to do this after learning something about basic textiles and dyeing and printing. Under traditional textiles of India, I will discuss with you dyed and printed textiles of India, and I will emphasize on kalamkari today. Actually, dyed and printed textiles of India, it is a very old history, very old tradition in Indian textile, you can say, industry. From 3000 BC to 2500 BC, the ancient Indians grew cotton and made it into fabric, while some villages grew to be great cities like Mohenjo-daro. With special emphasis on dyeing and printing. What is dyeing and what is printing? Actually, sometimes we used to combine both the words dyeing and printing, but these are a bit different. Dyeing and printing are processes employed in the conversion of raw textile fibers into finished goods that add much to the appearance of textile fabric. So, starting from the production of cotton till we get the fabric in the form of sari or suit material or bed sheets or bed linen or any upholstery, there are number of steps taken, and in these steps the last one is printing and dyeing, and we can say dyeing and printing could be called as finishes provided to the fabric. So, dyeing, the terms as you all familiar with, is basically the coloring of fabric. Most forms of textile materials can be dyed at almost any stage. Quality woolen goods are frequently dyed in the form of loose fibers, but top dyeing or cheese dyeing is favored in treating worsteds. I think you all know about the basic unit of a fabric, and that is fiber. When we combine so many fibers, we make yarn, and when we combine so many yarn, we make thread, and through thread we use to make fabrics. So, it is a process. Sometimes it is done at the fiber level or the basic unit level, sometimes it is done at the level of the thread, and sometimes the ready fabric is dyed. Manufacturers prefer piece dyeing, which allows stocking of white goods. Piece dyeing means the manufacturer does not want to dye all the fabric at a time, because it requires different kind of finishes. For example, different kinds of finishing, different kind of dyes, different kinds of finishes which are given to make the fabric glossy, shiny and durable. So, manufacturer try to prefer piece dyeing, in which they dye the fabric in pieces and make it available for the retailer in different forms. The dye used depends on the type of material and the specific requirements to be met. There are different types of dyes available these days, traditional or natural dyes as well as synthetic or chemical dyes. So, it depends which type of material is there, which type of usage is there, and accordingly the dye is applied on the fabric. Factors considered in dye selection includes fastness to light, reaction to washing and rubbing, and the cost of dyeing process. So, while we select a dye, usually the traditional or natural dyed fabrics are bit costly, because a lot of energy and time is consumed to prepare a fabric after dyeing. So, it is very much important to know the idea behind dyeing. For example, if we want to make a very fast kind of color kind of fabric, then naturally we will apply chemical dyes. It should be not be spoiled by the washing or rubbing process, and the cost of dyeing process is also very important. It increases the cost of the fabric. Then the effective preparation of material for dyeing is essential. Before applying dye to any fabric, it is important to prepare that particular fabric for the dyeing process. And the process may include the washing of the fabric, the removal of starch from the fabric, and making the fabric appropriate for the particular dye. There are different types of dyes as we discussed, like acid dyes used mainly for dyeing wool, silk and nylon. Actually, type of dyes depend on the nature of the fiber. If the fiber is affected by the dye, we should be very much careful. For example, acid dyes are appropriate for dyeing wool, silk and nylon. Direct or substantive dyes which have a strong affinity for cellulose fibers, cellulose means cotton fibers. So, direct or substantive dyes are fine. Modern dye means the very hard kind of dyes require the addition of chemical substances such as salt to give them an affinity for the material being dyed. They are applied to cellulosic fibers. Cellulosic fibers are cotton, rayon, wool or silk. Wool or silk are protein fiber, and after such materials have been treated with metal salts. Sulfur dyes used to dye cellulose, and these kind of dyes are inexpensive but produce colors lacking brilliance. Azoic dyes are insoluble pigments formed within the fiber by padding, first with a soluble coupling compound and then with a diazotized base. So, it depends. Azoic dyes are applied on those fabric where we need a very strong kind of color. Then wet dyes are insoluble in water, are converted into soluble colorless compounds by means of alkaline sodium hydrosulfide. So, wet dyes are used in combination with alkaline sodium hydrosulfide. Cellulose absorbs these colorless compounds which are subsequently oxidized to an insoluble pigment. So, these kind of dyes are applied on cellulosic fibers. These types of dyes are color fast, and dispersed dyes are suspensions of finely divided insoluble organic pigments used to dye such hydrophobic fibers as polyester, nylon and cellulose acetates. As these fibers do not absorb water. So, in this case we use dispersed dyes, and these are suspensions or of finely divided insoluble organic pigments. In a way these are imposed on the surface of the fiber, but fabric, but these are very strong kind of colors. For synthetic fibers, usually the dyes are mixed at the time of processing of the fiber. Now, the printing. What is printing? As we discussed in earlier, dyeing and printing are two different processes. We need a dyed fabric to apply print on that. Sometimes prints are applied on the greige fabric also when there is no color, but usually first the fabric is dyed, then print is applied on that. Printing is the process of applying color to fabric in definite patterns or design. In properly printed fabrics, the color is bonded with the fiber so as to resist washing and friction. So, it is a good care is taken to ensure that the prints are permanent. It should not be removed while washing or rubbing. So, properly printed fabrics are resisted to washing and friction. Textile printing is related to dyeing, but in dyeing the whole fabric is uniformly covered with one color, whereas in printing one or more colors applied to it in certain parts only and in sharply defined patterns. Here I want to clarify one thing, and you will come to know in detail about that process also. There is a process known as tie and dye, which is very much prevalent in Gujarat and Rajasthan. In tying and dyeing process, very fine designs are developed on the fabric with the help of tying the fabric and dyeing in the fabric in different colored solution. So, tying and dyeing where we are not doing any printing, but through dyeing and tying process we create designs. Likewise, in batik, again no printing is usually originally done with improvised conditions or with improvised technology or according to fashion. Batik and tie and dye fabrics are also being printed, but basically and originally the tie and dye and batik fabrics are only dyed fabrics, and certain kinds of techniques are used to make it a very beautiful fabric, a very decorative fabric. So, textile printing is related to dyeing, but in dyeing the whole fabric is uniformly covered, while in printing certain portion of the fabric is printed with different colors. So, there are different techniques of traditional textile printing and may be broadly categorized into four styles. First is direct printing, when colorants containing dyes, thickeners and the mordant or substances necessary for fixing the color on the cloth are printed in the desired pattern. The printing of a mordant in the desired pattern prior to dyeing cloth, the color adheres only where the mordant was printed. Resist dyeing, in which a wax or other substance is printed onto fabric which is subsequently dyed. The waxes areas do not accept the dye, leaving uncolored patterns against a colored ground, and we may leave that colored ground as it is, or we may print that particular portion. Then discharge printing, in which a bleaching agent is printed onto previously dyed fabric to remove some or all of the color. And it is very interesting, first we dye the fabric and then we bleach the fabric according to the need of the or according to the requirement. In resist and discharge technique, indigo resist was used to create blue backgrounds prior to block printing of other colors. Modern industrial printing mainly uses direct printing techniques. There are different methods of printing, usually 7 mainly. So, these are hand block printing. These days machine block printing is also prevalent. perrotine printing, very old kind of printing process, engraved copper plate printing, roller, cylinder or machine printing, stencil printing, screen printing and digital textile printing. So, printing is done by wooden blocks, stencils, as we discussed in early side. Hand block printing, we require blocks. These are usually wooden blocks, but these days metal blocks are also available. Perrotine printing, a kind of machine is there. Then engraved copper plate printing, again there is a machine, manual machine you can say, which is used. Roller, cylinder or machine printing. Roller, cylinder printing could be done by hand also as well as by machine also. Stencil printing, where we prepare stencil and we keep the stencil on the fabric and print the fabric accordingly. Screen printing, screens are prepared and where the designs are made on the screens and colors are passed through those designs. And now these days it is quite common and a very fast and intricate kind of textile printing, and that is digital textile printing. Printing is done by, as I told you earlier, wooden blocks, stencils, engraved plates, rollers, silk screens which can be used to place colors on the fabric. Silk screens usually used because we can use to pass color, use silk to pass colors through it. So, silk screens are very much in use where we make designs on these screens. Colorants used in printing contain dyes thickened to prevent the color from spreading by capillary attraction beyond the limits of the pattern or design. While we use color, the consistency is appropriate and the colors are thickened for to prevent the spreading. Now, in the following pictures you will find certain kinds of printing process. Here you will in this picture it is screen printing, where pads are used to apply colors in a uniform fashion. You can see it, first the screens are made by sketching and then it is transferred on the silk fabric or some other kind of fabric, and then colors are applied, and these could be manual screen prints or machine screen printing is also prevalent. Now, this is block printing. It is a wooden block, and block printing you will come to know in detail in the next lectures. It is a very intricate kind of printing where things are done manually, and manual block printing is really very expensive, and block prints are famous in different parts of India. For example, Sanganer block print is very famous. Likewise, when you come to know about kalamkari, again kalamkari is being done through blocks. So, block printing is a very unique way to develop good designs on the fabric, and it is a unique method which is happening in India, and in Iran also a place known as Isfahan. The block prints are very much attractive and colorful of that area and very intricate. So, perrotine machine from the museum, the perrotine machine was used to print the patterns. It is a kind of machine which is manual and used to print patterns. Blocks are also used in it. Then engraved copper plate printing. The copper plates are engraved, and then those engraved copper plates are used to print the fabric. This is a picture of that printing machine. and again it is a manual machine. Now the screen prints, you can see the screen printing which is done by machines. Screens are there being placed at different places and colors are applied. You can have different colored designs on these screens. Now again there are so many other different types of printing. In the first picture you will find that leaves are put up on placed on the fabric, and a kind of different color, or it is covered by those leaves and other area is being dyed. So it is a very unique and difficult kind of printing. It is sometimes done by fabric colors also. Then the next in the next picture you can see the printing is being done by resisting the thing which is placed beneath the fabric. Color is being applied and kind of impression is obtained on the surface of the fabric. In the third picture, there are rollers which are having embossed patterns, and these rollers, on these rollers dyes are applied, and these dyes are accordingly colors accordingly applied on the fabric. So not dye but colors are applied on these rollers, and those colors are applied on the fabric, and these are embossed kind of rollers, and embossed areas are printed on the fabric. So I have given you and shown you a few examples. There are so many other different kinds of printing which is taking place in different parts of country. This is machine or roller printing. These machines could be used in the form of rollers. We can have different designs of roller, and different designs could be applied on a fabric by use of different types of rollers. And this is, these days it is very much in use, because in one go we can obtain a large number of fabric. Now a little bit about the history. Till date, no record is available to tell us when cloth was first woven or dyed in this subcontinent. Madder dyed textile was found at Mohenjo-daro, taking us 5,000 years back. It proves both a knowledge of the use of mordants and competence in the art of dyeing to make the color permeate the fabric, so that even fading added a new glow of maturity instead of drabness. So a very unique technique was prevalent at that time, in which color used to permeate the fabric deep, and fading even does not make the fabric dull. Later records indicate that textiles were exported to Rome in the west and Malaysia in the east. There are so many different types of textile fabrics in India. Seems to have been derived from the local contours of countrysides. In west of India, the color belt of bright desert shades stretching from Rajasthan to Kutch, where Kutch is in Gujarat, and we used to get very good tie and dyed fabrics along with the patola of Patan. Down in the Deccan plateau, color becomes subordinate to design, grow subdued until, as we move to Kerala, they seem to quench themselves in the lush green of nature. Assam and Bengal, where picture is repeated on the reverse, deep and dark greens, white or off-white and red dominate. Odisha, Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu, you will find more intricate designs in rich color shades, more orderly and intricate. Now about the decorated fabrics. It is decorated fabric, you can take the meaning as a printed fabric or the fabric which is on which the specific finishes have been given to make it attractive. So, it is difficult to say when exactly man discovered to make colors, but it must have been pretty early in his evolution. For man's desire to decorate himself with flowers and leaves seem primeval, extracting colors out of them an exciting adventure. Discovery of colors opened up a vast new world of man. Decorating cloth with painting was probably most exciting, for it opened up immense and diverse possibilities. It took very different form in different regions, and each attained its own distinction. Today we have only some of the remnants left of that distinguished heritage, because man started wearing leaves and barks of the tree, and later on man extracted color out of that and dyed the fabric brilliantly, and decorating cloth with painting was very much exciting, as it opened up immense and diverse possibilities. And in India we will find different regions having different printing methods and different designing method. It depends on the local designs, local culture and tradition. For example, Madhubani painting, very much you can say it is also done with the kalam, but the designs are different. Likewise, kalamkari in south, it is different. So, in India we find different types of printing and dyeing process, but today we do not have much of our old, distinguished heritage. A few famous decorated fabrics of past, one is very much important, that is hand painted resist dyed cloth known as Coromandel chintz or cheat, you used to call it in Hindi. Originally made in Golconda, Hyderabad city, they spread to eastern coast up to Tamil Nadu, with Machilipatnam as its chief port, Machilipatnam or Machilipatnam. They were on cotton and made a dazzling array of exotic flowers and foliage, mostly in blue, red, yellow, purple and black. It is a very complex process of painting. They were made somewhat like bandhani, or tie and dye, except that instead of tying, wax resist was used together with repeated process of washing, sunning and bleaching. Means repeatedly it was washed, sun dried and bleached. It is one of the example. Then painted temple clothes. Actually, in our rich cultural tradition, in South India there are so many temples, and for those temples different types of clothes were prepared, and these are more antique and still struggling to survive, probably successors to the illustrations on palm leaves on which the ancient texts were written. Art grew up naturally around places of pilgrimage. Madder and indigo processes were used to this cloth, but no blocks. Then Kalahasti in Andhra Pradesh, you will come to know in detail in the later portion of this presentation. It is also noted for its kalamkari, exclusively hand painted and to be used as tapestries and hangings in temples. Vegetable dyes or natural dyes of deep rich shades are used with strong outlines in brown and black. Flowing water is from river is desirable to clear it of starch, as no washing material is used. So, it is interesting to know that kalamkari is prevalent in Andhra Pradesh, in Machilipatnam and one more place, and river is there, and river is essential to wash the fabric to de-starch it. So, water is required. Sometimes fabrics are kept in water for days. The outline of figure is traced out or freehand drawn from memory. Then Vasamalai, temple cloths of one place, that is chicken Aikanapetta near Kumbakonam, Tanjore district, and known as Vasamalai. Meaning is which can be hung on the wall. Technically painted in the same way as Kalahasti, but figures are not folk but lean towards the temple images in form. Colors used are bright in contrast to the deep dark ones in Kalahasti. Chemical colors are used instead of vegetable. Geometrical patterns at the borders are found on these printing. Then Kuralam, it is again a decorative cloth of a ritual nature to hang on the either side of the chariot during the procession. The ornamentation is done with woolen cut work. These pieces are usually given as votive offering by devotees. A few others are Kalamkari, Patola, tie and dye of Gujarat and Rajasthan, Pochampalli, Telia Rumal, tie and dye of Tamil Nadu, Sugadi, ikats of Odisha. I have taken a few names. In our country, there are many more. Now, I will focus on Kalamkari. Kalamkari is a type of hand painted or block printed cotton textile produced in parts of India and in Iran. The word is derived from the Persian word ghalam, meaning pen, and kari meaning craftsmanship, and meaning kalamkari means drawing with a pen. You can see a small example of kalamkari. The Machilipatnam kalamkari craft made at Pedana nearby Machilipatnam in Krishna district of Andhra Pradesh evolved with patronage of the Mughals and the Golconda Sultanate. So, Machilipatnam kalamkari was basically started when Mughals came in the Krishna district or Andhra Pradesh. The term is now inseparably attached to the painted and block printed cotton and silk cloths produced along the Coromandel coast, southern and coastal Andhra Pradesh and part of coastal Tamil Nadu of India. And these fabrics or the fabrics with this type of printing are quite costly and very much in fashion. Two distinctive styles of kalamkari in India. The first is srikalahati and the second is Machilipatnam kalamkari. Srikalahati style is older than Machilipatnam, is done by kalam or pen for free hand drawing of the subject and filling in the colors. It is entirely a handwork, flowered around temples and their patronage, and so had an almost religious identity. Usually the paintings, kalamkari is, Srikalahati style of kalamkari is usually contain the figures of god, goddess, temples, etc. And scrolls, temple hangings, chariot, banners and the like depicted deities and scenes taken from the great Hindu epics like Ramayana, Mahabharata and Puran and other mythological classics. Only natural dyes are used, involves 17 painstaking steps. You will come to know about those steps in a video which I will show you later on. Srikalahati, this is Kalahasti, follows free hand drawing techniques and the panels are used as decorative elements in temples and on chariot. Characteristics of this painting style is it is simple, yet richness in color because only natural dyes are used. There is no shading, direct application of colors, round faces, long and big eyes and stout characters. A few paintings of this type of kalamkari you can see, scenes of Mahabharat, Ganesh ji, then again the deities, Hindu deities. Now the Machilipatnam kalamkari, whereas in Srikalahasti the clothes are directly painted on with the pen made from bamboo sticks with cotton wrapped on to it. In Machilipatnam, the sinuous lines of pen are transferred onto wooden blocks and finally get printed on the cloth surface. So, in a way it is a fast process because blocks are used to make the fabric, to print the fabric. It is not exactly the hand drawn, it is block printed. In Machilipatnam, the cloths are produced in the Karkhana process. Karkhana process means it is industrialized, where the block makers, washer people and printers work under the same roof, while in Srikalahasti it is still the family that engages in the entire process. So, it is very much you can say household business. In ancient times, group of singers, musicians and painters called Chitrakatis moved villages to village to tell the village dwellers the great stories of Hindu mythology, and for that storytelling they used to they use these kind of images on the fabrics. Progressively they developed large bolts of canvas painted on the spot with rudimentary means and dyes extracted from plants. Thus, the first kalamkari had been born. The Mughals who patronized this craft in Coromandel and Golconda province called the practitioners of this craft Kalamakers, from which the term kalamkari evolved. And I have taken this from a site. Kalamkari art has been practiced by many families in Andhra Pradesh and over the generation has constituted their livelihood. Now, history and little bit about the history and development. Traces of the Indian block printed cloth are found from ancient Egypt and Rome as well as Indus Valley civilization. Existing evidence from the Coromandel coast goes back to no longer than 13th to 14th century AD. The clothes from Srikalahasti were essentially made as temple clothes for canopying as backdrop and can be considered as a part of the ritual components as well as an extended part of the worshipping. Srikalahasti is one of the important pilgrimage site for Hindus where the Kalahastitwara temple dedicated to Lord Shiva is located. The temple came to prominence under the Pallava kings and further developed under the Chola and Vijayanagara kings. The style of drawing on the textiles here is characterized by bold, black, angular lines and a continuous effort towards detailing. The subject matter of the painting mostly concentrates on Hindu religion, themes as well as secular themes such as flora and fauna through which the artist depicts concepts of creation and eternity through images like the tree of life. Now, the Machilipatnam, the production is meant for clothing, prayer mats, bedspreads, tapestry and hangings. Mass production leads to reproduction of design, hence the use of the printing techniques where blocks were prepared and used. The motifs carry cross-cultural features of the region as well as from Persia and later Europe. Machilipatnam was a busy port of the eastern coast of India in the late medieval period. The English pursued a profitable trade in textile and other handmade Indian products, especially from the 15th to 17th century AD. So, the connection of the region with the external world was quite evident. So, kalamkari of Machilipatnam was traveled to different parts of the world, especially in Europe and Middle East. As it was not constrained by religious and ritualistic premises, the cloth produced in Machilipatnam displayed varied imaginary, starting from stylized plants, creepers, geometric designs to animals and human figures, and served as a very important source of the contemporary social scenario. Another type of kalamkari named Karupur was developed under the Marathas of Tanjore in the early 19th century, but has since disappeared. So, in a way there are only two major kalamkaris, Machilipatnam and Srikalahasti. So, the laborious process involved with each painting takes around 40 days, the designing takes about 4 days, and the entire process of painting takes 30 to 35 days depending on the climatic condition as well as the length of the fabric. Most of the raw materials are gathered from the forest and processed by traditional method. The tools used are charcoal pencil, tamarind twigs, pointed and round tipped kalam, pen made by bamboo stick, while materials include godha, that is unbleached cloth, rusted iron, alum, cow's milk, cow dung, indigo, alzarine, anar, rubia cordifolia, Pobaku, Ventilago, Madraspatna garten, that is Surudu Chekha, and Myrobalan fruit dust. These are the natural material which is obtained from the forest as well as cow's milk and cow's dung. A few pictures which are showing the drawing of the design with the hand, filling up the colors with the hand. Then blocks are there which are used again for the kalamkari. The process in Srikalahasti, firstly the cotton cloth is washed in water thoroughly to remove starch and other oily substances. After dyeing, the cloth is dipped into buffalo milk, sometimes cow milk, mixed with myrobalan fruit dust, after which it is taken out, squeezed and kept for drying again. At this point, the initial drawing is made by charcoal pencil, usually crafted from a tamarind tree twig. For coloring, a pen made of bamboo stick is used. One side of the stick is trimmed down to get a sharp tip. On top of the tip, a piece of cotton cloth is wrapped and then tied with thread thoroughly. This is the bamboo stick which is used as pen, a small piece of felt. Then design is outline of design is made. The solution for drawing the outline is locally called as kasim, which is made by adding 500 grams of sugarcane jaggery, 100 gram of palm jaggery and 1 kg of rusted iron into 10 liters of water. So, a very good black and brown color can be prepared. The solution is kept for around 21 days before using. The pen is dipped into kasim, squeezed and used for drawing over the cloth surface. A piece of cotton is kept to blot the excessive ink from the surface. In the process, first the area to be painted with red are treated with a solution of alum water. The most common background color for the cloth tends to be red. To get maroon instead of red, a small amount of kasim is added to the solution because the solution is black in the color. The solution is applied to the cloth with a blunt pen. Separately, alizarin solution is prepared using 50 grams of alizarin diluted into water for around 6 meters of cloth standard size, and then that is added to around 15 liters of boiling water. The cloth drawn with kasim and alum solution is dipped into the hot water and kept for around 45 minutes. Separately, alizarin solution is prepared using 50 grams of alizarin that I have already told you. For washing, the clothes are taken to the nearby Swarnmukhi river. The river is shallow and apt for washing the clothes. So, river is there and which is used extensively to wash the fabric. Each fabric can undergo up to 20 washes. Various effects are obtained by using cow dung, seeds, plants and crushed flowers to obtain natural dye. Then Machilipatnam style, the cotton cloths are taken to the nearby canal, washed and then treated as above. The cloths produced here can be monochrome or polychrome. The work is a collaborative process here. The block preparation, teak wood is used to prepare the block. The wood surface is coated with white solution and then the design is transferred onto it. Blocks are carved into by a relief process where the positive area is raised and negative area is sunk. The blocks are characterized by lyrical signs transforming into simple and complex design process. In the printing subunit, the coloring process usually starts from the outline and ends with the filling up of the color. Unlike Srikalahasti, alum solution is not used. The colors are kept in flat rectangular wooden vessels and covered with several layers of cotton, cloth or jute. And while printing, the blocks touch only the layers of cloth, which ensures the appropriate inking. So, actually the coloring process, these are the blocks which are used in this process. Otherwise, the method is same of making the color and dye. While boiling, leaves from local forest are added to the water to fix the color, and after boiling they are dried and again sent for the further printing. This is the fixing sketch on the wooden block, making of blocks, fixing of color as it is done in the previous method as srikalahasti. Why the region is important? Because it is a coastal area and it is near the coast, river is there to wash it. So, now I would like to show you the video which is which will give you a detailed picture of it. This is first we start with the preparation of fabric. We are using the seeds, making the powder and then paste and mixed with the milk. Very thorough mixing is being done with the hand. You can see there is no apparatus being used, everything is being done by hand. Now you can see the dipping of the cloth in it, how well it is being mixed and the cloth is being prepared. Actually, it is done to make the painting and block printing easier and brighter on it. You can see the drying of the fabric. Now they are preparing the fabric by scrubbing it. Now preparation of kalamkari stick. It is a big bamboo divided into pieces, cut into pieces. You can see how well he is doing with the help of knife, sharpening the edges, tip, making the tip, rubbing on the stone to make it sharp. You will find the designs are so intricate, and for that the sharp tip is important. Now he is making it with the help of wool. It is easier to hold and draw the design. Now sketching of the design. As I told you, circles and corners and triangles You can see curved figures. How fast they are and how free hand drawing is being done very clearly and efficiently. Big eyes, importance of Srikalahasti kind of kalamkari. The ornamentation of the figure, making it very lively. Too simple, but very much proportionate. Male and female figure. Now the dye preparation of dye kasim, it takes around 21 days for the preparation. You can see the color. No chemical is added, and even then very good black color is prepared using iron and so you can see the figure prepared by the use of that dye kasim, and it is done by the kalam with great concentration. The girl is busy in making the figure, different parts of the fabric. It could be used as wall hanging or curtain or bedspread, or it could be done on dress material, sari. But how well she is doing and how much time she is spending on it. You can very well understand the concentration, energy and interest behind this. So the difference you can you can judge yourself the difference between a block printed kalamkari and hand painted kalamkari. The fabric is placed on a cushioned base to avoid any leakage of ink or dye. The fabric is almost ready. Later on, the leaves and other things, you can see the stems, leaves, and now alum dye is used. It's mixed. And you can observe one thing, the worker is not wearing any gloves or anything because the dyes are natural. So this is the
this is the
small presentation, small
so
presentation,
that the students would be able to understand how kalamkari is done and what are the preparations made before and after. With this note, we would like to take your leave, ma'am, and I would like to tell all the students that we would be conducting more lectures on traditional textiles of India, and under this very topic, that is traditional textile of India, we would be discussing more and more.
Yeah, that may be on tie and dye and pochampalli and the printing of different parts of the country like ikat and things like
With this
that.
note, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so very much for delivering such a nice lecture, as well as making us aware of this topic with the help of the excellent examples as well as presentation. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.